Welcome at Pizza and More. Is it really required to have a nice pizza flour to bake a fantastic and very delicious pizza? How was it in earlier times? Had the pizzaiolos also always flour available with a very high percentage of protein? Yeah, I'm Jürgen and we make this time a pizza without pizza flour. I thought we'd take all-purpose flour because the all-purpose flour normally is for all purposes and therefore it should be also good for pizza. The flour I use today has 11% of protein. I don't know the W value, so I don't know the baking strength because our mills are normally not declaring these values, unfortunately. And also if you have a look in the internet, there you also can't find any information about the baking strength of most of the German flours. Therefore, I thought I'm a bit careful with this flour. I make a leavening time of 24 hours and a hydration of 65%. I think 65% with 11% of protein should be possible. If you have maybe a flour which has only 10% of protein, then please lower the hydration a bit to 63, 62 or maybe 60%, then it's easier to handle. And now I would say we start with our dough.
These are now the ingredients we need for our dough. By the way, it's not necessary to write it down because everything is as in each other video as well. All the values and all the procedure is in the video description. I have here 500 grams of all-purpose flour. I have 325 grams of very cold water, which leads us then to a hydration of 65%. I have 15 grams of fine sea salt, and I have here 1 gram of dry yeast. 1 gram because we let the dough rise in the fridge. If you wanna let the dough rise totally at room temperature, then also 0.3 grams of dry yeast is enough. To make the dough, I pour at first the water into my mixer, then the flour and the yeast, and then I start mixing at the lowest speed for around 5 minutes. Then after the first 5 minutes I add the salt and then we continue kneading for around 15 minutes so that we have a total kneading time of roughly 20 minutes. I increase now the speed and then I knead until the window test is possible.
Now after 20 minutes I think the dough is ready. I kneaded the dough or I increased the speed to number 5 of 10. So I don't know the rounds of the machine, but it's number 5, so half of the maximum speed. I needed 20 minutes. I took already out a piece of dough. I have to say the dough this flour had absolutely no problems with the 65% hydration. But nevertheless, let's try a window test. I have here a piece of dough. I have wet fingers, then it's not that sticky. And now I stretch this piece of dough and you can see this is possible. The gluten structure is absolutely fantastic and the dough is ready.
When the dough is then on our counter, it's important to shape a nice dough ball. Therefore, we do several times the so-called stretch and fold. For the stretch and fold, we take the dough from the left and from the right. We lift the dough, put it back onto the counter, we stretch it and we fold it over. And we do this several times. This strengthens also the gluten structure. And if the dough is sticking, then make the dough stop sticking. If we did this several times, you can already see here a nice surface of the dough, but then we turn the dough and we pull the dough Because the dough is sticking to the counter, it also stretches the surface. And then, when we have a nice shaped dough ball, we take a dough ball box or any other container or whatever, then we place the dough inside of our box. Then it's important to close the lid. And then we let the dough now rest at room temperature for around 2 hours. And then we place it into the fridge for around 10 to 12 hours.
Good 12 hours later, the dough was in the fridge for around 12 hours. I'm going now to shape the pizza boys. By the way, when you shape your pizza boys, this is absolutely up to you. So this is not fixed that you have to do it after 12 hours or after a certain time. It's really absolutely up to you. You can do it when it fits the best into your schedule. But two things I would recommend. One thing is, I wouldn't recommend to shape the dough boys directly after kneading the dough. The reason is because if you have a specific time of bulk fermentation and then you shape the pizza boys, then you have or you bring fresh oxygen to the dough, which means this is positive for the yeast and the development of the dough, and the result at the end seems to be a bit better. And the second thing what I want to recommend is, don't wait too long to shape the pizza boys. I would recommend 6 to 8 hours before baking. Reason is, when we shape now the pizza boys, the dough needs some time to get relaxed again. Otherwise, if the dough is stressed, we have no chance to stretch the pizza. The dough goes always back and it's not possible to shape the pizza. And now we shape the pizza boys.
Here we have now the dough, and I think it looks really pretty good. I take it out, put it onto my counter, and then I make 3 pizza dough pieces. I have here now the 3 pizza dough pieces, and now I shape the pizza boys. For shaping the pizza boys, there are different possibilities. I show you one of them. On my channel you will find several. At first I turn the dough over so that I have the surface which was during the leavening time on top is now also on top, because this helps us then directly to get a nice and proper surface. I'm doing now the stretch and fold version, which means I do the same with the big pizza boil yesterday. So I take the dough, lift it, put it back onto the counter, fold it over and stretch it. And then you can see how it already looks like. If you have here already some air bubbles, it doesn't matter. If the air bubbles are too big, then you can open them. And then you can turn the dough several times and you can pull the dough for pulling the dough, I go with the fingertips under the dough to avoid rolling, because we want that the dough ball rolls. We want only that we pull the dough. And then if we did this several times, then we check the bottom of the dough ball so that also the bottom is nice closed. This avoids that the dough ball runs flat during leavening. And then the dough ball comes back into the box. And then when all the 3 are prepared, we close again the lid, we put it back into the fridge, and round about 4 hours before baking, we take them out of the fridge.
4 hours ago I took the dough out of the fridge. The dough boys are looking really fantastic. It's all-purpose flour, it's a great flour. Obviously the 65% hydration were absolutely no problem for this dough or for this flour, and you will see the dough boys in a second. I already had a look and I have to say it's really great. All the other things are also already prepared. We will make again a nice pizza margherita. The margherita is fantastic to show you how to prepare quickly the pizza, and then it is like a base for all the other toppings you want to add onto your pizza. And now, as we have 65% hydration, I preheated the oven to 450 degrees Celsius, and now we start with the pizza.
Here you can see how fantastic my dough balls looks like, and I have to say they are really great. And now I take one out. I have to be here really careful because otherwise the dough will be stressed and it's not possible to shape a nice pizza anymore. Therefore we use enough semula, release the dough where it's attached to our other dough ball. Then we go with the spatula under. We lift the dough out and put it into semolina. Then we close the box again, otherwise the remaining dough balls will dry out. And then we flip this dough ball several times in the semolina so that really everywhere is semolina. Then we take it out. If the dough ball is now not round, we have the possibility with the fingertips to shape it round, and then we start pressing the air from the center towards the crust, and if we see already such very big air bubbles, we open them. I have to say, stretching the dough was pretty easy, was pretty fantastic. The dough is super elastic. Now I add some tomato sauce. So the tomato sauce is the normal Neapolitan tomato sauce made from San Marzano tomatoes, which I tear by hand. And to 1 can of San Marzano tomatoes, which has 400 grams, I added 4 grams of fine sea salt. The next topping we add is fresh grated Parmesan cheese or Grana Padano or Pecorino. And then some fresh basil. I have to say my basil is not anymore the very best. I had it next to the open window in the kitchen where it came cold in, and my basil didn't like the cold air. But now we add some mozzarella cheese, or in my case fior di latte. You can see the mozzarella fior di latte is cut into sticks, and traditionally the buffalo mozzarella then is cut into slices. Then some olive oil. And then is the pizza already prepared and ready for the pizza peel. Therefore we add some semolina onto the peel, lift the dough, push the peel under, and now we stretch the dough to its final size. And then the pizza is ready for the oven. And here comes this nice pizza already out of the oven. And also here I have to say, I'm absolutely impressed. And then normally I would say let's add some fresh basil. In my case right now it's really difficult to find a few leaves on my plant, but better than nothing. And now I would say let's cut into the pizza, and you can see these huge air pockets what we have in our pizza.
And now I already cut it out a piece of the pizza, because now I have the pleasure to taste it. at first from the center. And this center tastes absolutely amazing. But now I taste the crust, because in the crust is the most taste from the dough. And also this crust tastes like a dream. Once I made already a video where I compared the all-purpose flour with the Type 0 flour, because these two flours are comparable. There I think I had the opinion that the pizza made from the Type 0 flour was a bit more flavorful, but if I have now here nothing to compare, I have only this pizza from the all-purpose flour, I have to say this pizza tastes absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. And I can't see any reason why we shouldn't make a pizza from the normal all-purpose flour. So the all-purpose flour costs only half of the Italian pizza flour, so definitely something to think about. Yeah, if you like my video, it would be fantastic if you would subscribe my channel, and then we see us also in the next video. Ciao.